Welcome friends to the lecture which is the symbolic expression, and in the studio we have Manisha Sharma with us as a sign language expert. Today's topic of discussion is Shashi Kapoor, a man for all seasons. As we all are aware that Shashi Kapoor has been an important actor, producer, director in the framework of the films which have been made in India, and largely he has been known as an actor, and he belonged to the Kapoor family, which has been there in the film industry for a very long period of time, and which has also been considered as one of the first family of the film industry. And with the illustrious family with Prithviraj Kapoor and brother like Raj Kapoor, Shashi Kapoor also made his mark, and he not only acted in the films but also produced some of the alternative cinema films as well, and he also tried to direct some of them, many of them, but they were not all that successful. But he had that kind of a knack that he was some kind of an international star as well, because he also acted in some of the international films which were made in Hindi. So today we are going to talk about the kind of contribution which has been made by Shashi Kapoor, not only in the mainstream commercial cinema, but at the same time that how he also contributed as a producer to the alternative cinema. So he had that kind of a knack where he could find a kind of a story which would be relevant from the point of view of the society, and then he invested his money in it. He was also closely associated with the Prithvi theatres as well, and how the issue of theatre has always been an important concern in the film industry, because many of the people or the actors, actresses, those who have made their mark at some point of time have also been associated with theatre as well. So we find that how Shashi Kapoor, not only as a film hero or a main actor, but at the level of producer and director also made his mark, and he started his journey at a very young age as a child artist. And we find that in 1940s, under the name of Shashi Raj, in the film called Aag in 1948 and Avara in 1951, he also acted. And in Dharmputra in 1961, he came as a person who was the lead hero, in that sense that this was his first film as an adult, in that sense. And we find that Yash Chopra has directed this film, and the issue of Hindu and Muslim was there in this film, that how Hindu family brings up an illegitimate Muslim child, and it deals with the issues of the religious intolerance and the fanaticism and communalism during the times of partition and thereafter. So the film was not successful at the box office, but we find that not many directors they ventured into such themes after that, including Yash Chopra himself. So we find that how Shashi Kapoor, from the initial level, was into the international or the English films as well. And he also acted in a film called he acted his initial film from the point of view of English was Householder, which was made in Hindi and English, and Shashi Kapoor was a teacher in this particular film, that how he was working at a private college, and how she marries Indu, who the role played by Leela Naidu, in an arranged marriage, and how he was learning the role of the husband in the new marriage when the mother Durga Khote comes to the house, and she in a way starts interfering, which leaves no option for Leela Naidu than to leave the home and return back to her own family. So we find that this film was also reflective of the kind of society in which we were living, and how Shashi Kapoor, he searches for the answer in this particular film, and he in a way consults many people, including a Swami who reveals secret of a successful marriage, and Kapoor finally gains maturity to love his wife. So this kind of a framework was there in this particular film. And he also, in this film, he worked with the Merchant Ivory production, and we find that Merchant Ivory production, he was also associated with other films as well, which were directed by both these people, Merchant and Ivory, and how they formed this kind of a collaboration with this production. And another film in which he acted, which was in English, was Shakespeare Wala in 1965, and it was about a travelling family theatre troupe of English actors in India, and who performed the Shakespearean plays in the towns across India, and a dwindling demand for their work and the rise of the Hindi cinema. And it was being suggested that it was loosely based on the real life actor manager Geoffrey Kendall's family and his travelling Shakespeareana company, which earned him the Indian name Shakespeare Wala. And we find that this was the family with which Jennifer Kendall was also associated, and how Shashi Kapoor married Jennifer Kendall, and he was also closely associated with the English and Hindi theatre as well. And we also find that how Shashi Kapoor was also not only in the films where he acted in a solo manner, he acted in more than 100 films where he played the lead role in a solo manner, but he was also a part of multi-starrers. So if we see his journey, we find that around 60 films he acted the solo role, and in around more than 100 films to be precise, maybe 116, in which he acted. So it was a huge number, keeping in mind that he was working in the mainstream cinema, he was also working in the alternative cinema, also producing many of the films. So we find that in the context of the multi-starrers, we find that he acted in a film called Waqt, and this was associated with the lost and found formula, and how initially the members of a family, they are lost, and then they, over a period of time, they unite as well. And this film also communicates this kind of an idea where a happy family was separated by time, and how when they go through a series of trials and tribulations, and finally they unite as well. And we find that how the time plays an important role, and it has been time and again communicated as well, that how human beings, they are not the in that sense the movers of every situation in life, rather the time is one which decides their fate. And as we are also aware that cinema is also concerned with music in India, and time and again we find that around 6 to 7, 8 songs are part of a film. And these songs like Waqt Se Din Aur Raat and Aage Bhi Jaane Na Tu, both of them, they became, apart from the others as well, both of them, they also became very popular, because both these songs were also concerning time. Because they are showing the importance of time, that how times are very, very important. And other actors like Rajkumar, Balraj Sahni, Sadhana, Sunil Dutt, all of them, they also played in the role in this particular film called Waqt. And this film not only became popular at that point of time, but during the later generations as well, that its popularity continued as well. Apart from that, we also see that Shashi Kapoor also acted in a film called Jab Jab Phool Khile, which was made in 1965. And this was a story of a poor boy who is a boatman in Kashmir, and who falls in love with a rich tourist played by Nanda. And this story of rich and poor has been shown in the Indian cinema or the Hindi cinema several times. And his mannerisms, his simplicity and the charm which is being exhibited in this film was appreciated by the audience, and how this film became very popular and successful at the box office level as well. Then we also talked about the rich poor romance, which is there in many of the films which have been made in Hindi cinema, and the issues of culture and class and these kinds of differences which are there, they were also being tackled in this particular film, when the father of Nanda is not ready to marry Shashi Kapoor to her. So this also shows the class issues as well, that how the people, those who are from the elite section of society, they are not ready to accept any poor in the family in terms of any matrimonial alliances. And we also find that 1996 Hindi film Raja Hindustani was also inspired by this particular film. If we if you see the Raja Hindustani, then you will find that the parallels could be drawn with Jab Jab Phool Khile, which was made in 1965. So such kinds of remaking of films or representing of films has also been there in the Hindi cinema, that how time and again films, they have been either copied or inspirations they have been drawn from these films, and they have been presented and represented in later times as well. Thereafter, we also see that there was another film which was directed by Prakash Mehra in 1968, called Hasina Maan Jayegi, which also starred Shashi Kapoor and Babita. And Shashi Kapoor was there in the double role in this film, and he was able to do justice in both the roles in this particular film. And we also find that there was a very popular duet by Mohammad Rafi and Lata Mangeshkar, Be Khudi Mein Sanam, in this particular film, which became very, very popular as well. We also find that how the kind of combination Shashi Kapoor was able to make with Hema Malini, and they, both of them, they acted together in many of the films where Hema Malini played the role of the better half or the love interest of Shashi Kapoor. And one of the films was Abhinetri, which was made in 1970, and how the love marriage between an assistant scientist Shashi Kapoor and an established stage dancer and singer played by Hema Malini was shown in this film. And then we also see that in their marriage life, how some kind of differences they come due to Hema's restarting of her dance. So some kind of ego issues or some kinds of conservative ideas with regard to whether women, they should go to public domain after marriage in terms of songs and dances, whether they should engage themselves in these kinds of performances. They were being reflected in this particular film, and we find that both of them, they finally decide to live separately, but they also compromise to live together when Shashi Kapoor's mother comes to their house. And so they were trying to in a way create a situation as if they were living a happily married life, so that any kind of discomfort to Shashi Kapoor's mother may not happen. And finally, both of them, they also realize, and especially Shashi Kapoor realizes and finds bliss in the marital life. We also see that he also acted in other English films as well. Bombay Talkie was one, which was made in 1970, in which Jennifer Kendall, who is a British author who is researching the Hindi film industry, and she falls in love with Shashi Kapoor and has an affair with Shashi Kapoor, who is a famous actor in India. And the plot is complicated by the fact that the Vikram, or the role played by Shashi Kapoor in this particular film, he is married, and his friend Zia Mohiuddin, he is in love with Lucia, or the character played by Jennifer Kendall. So the relationships and their complexities, they were shown in this particular film, and how we also see that relations are not in that way in a simple manner, rather they have a lot of complexities, and these complexities, when they are being exhibited in terms of the relationships of individuals with each other, then they become more complex in nature. Apart from that, we also see that Shashi Kapoor also acted in other English films as well. In 1972, he acted in Siddharth, which was an Indo-American drama mystery film based on the 1922 novel of the same name by Herman Hesse, directed by Conrad Rooks. And the film tells the story of a young Siddharth, which was played by Shashi Kapoor, who is born in a rich family and his search for a meaningful way of life. So we find that this particular film was in a way indicating that how the life of Siddharth, or in a way Gautam Buddha in that sense, these kinds of portrayals, they were being done, and how he is searching for a meaningful life, because we find that this kind of a search is taking him through the periods of harsh asceticism, sensual pleasure, material wealth, then self-revulsion, and eventually to oneness and harmony with oneself or himself that he has been seeking. So we find that how a human being is undergoing various kinds of experiences through the various life stages which are there in one's life, and this issue of harsh asceticism which was also we find was as a result of various kinds of other life cycles, whether in the framework of the sensual pleasure or the material wealth, and how a person then have some kind of a revulsion, and the person wants to attain some kind of a unity or oneness in harmony with himself. So, this is what the film talks about, and Siddharth, in a way, the role played by Shashi Kapoor, also learns that the secret of life cannot be passed on from one person to another, but must be achieved through inner experience. So, self realization and self acceptance or self experience are important concerns when one has to, in a way, learn certain aspects. This has been communicated through this film, and we have also realized that so many people, they have talked about these kinds of aspects in this manner. Then we also see that in 1970s he acted in a film called Roti Kapda Aur Makan, which was directed by Manoj Kumar, and the title of the film was based on a Hindi phrase which refers to the basic necessities of life. And the film portrays Shashi Kapoor as a rich businessman, and Zinat Aman is a love interest of Manoj Kumar, but now she wants to marry Shashi Kapoor for his wealth, and this also reflects the kind of changes which come in the value system of the people, and the issues of poverty and unemployment which were there in the country in 1970s, they have also been shown. And we also see that how Manoj Kumar was not able to find any kind of employment despite being employed, and he in a way condemns or decries the degree which he received, and he throws his degree in the funeral pyre of his father. So, we find that the issue of corruption in the public life, the issue of unemployment, where people, those who were educated, were not able to find the jobs so as to become productive in life, and how people, they became poor when they were not employed. They, all of them, they were being shown in this particular film, apart from the change of values which were there, that how Zinat Aman in a way starts to like Shashi Kapoor, who has wealth, and in a way rejects Manoj Kumar, who does not have wealth. So, these kinds of comparisons, they were being shown in this particular film. We also find that there was a film called Anari in 1975, and Shashi Kapoor and Sharmila Tagore, they are being shown as the sweethearts who are cursed with the extreme poverty. And it has also been shown in the film that Shashi Kapoor must provide for his family and arrange for the marriage of his sister, and how Sharmila Tagore fights for pennies or money or paisa to nurse her ailing mother in the film, while her father drinks away his earnings. So, this was also reflective of the contemporary society, where we find that some people, those who were engaged in drinking, they were in a way trying to, they were also not taking care of their family. And we also find that the job offer takes Shashi Kapoor away into a world of wealth and intrigue, but creates a situation where both parties lose their moral compass as well. So, we find that this particular film was also reflective of a film which was made by the same title with Raj Kapoor in the lead, and there also the concerns of money, they were also being shown. They were shown in a vis-a-vis the spiritual the issues. So, how the wealth is important, or knowledge is important, or the spiritual value system is important. And many times we have seen that the material ideas or the world of wealth, it has been criticized on the moral compass or moral grounds. Then we also see that Shashi Kapoor also acted in a very popular film called Diwar, which was made in 1975, and this particular film was denoting a kind of wall which has left between the two brothers who are separated by destiny and situation in a period of social political chaos. And when Shashi Kapoor utters the dialogue "Mere paas maa hai," Kapoor's resolute gaze, his distinctive honesty and honesty in his face, they made it one of the great moments of the popular cinema. And this dialogue became quite popular in the later times as well. And we also find that in this particular film he has been shown as a very good student who is who also becomes a police inspector, who is lawful, and he is ready to fight with his brother for justice and law, and he also fights with him, and he is morally upright as well. So these kinds of qualities they were also needed in the times of crisis, and 1970s is also a period where we find that emergency was at its peak in that sense, because the situation had deteriorated in 1974 and thereafter, and when emergency was imposed in 1975, and then it continues for nearly 19 months. So this kind of a situation was not right in the framework of the kind of rights or the civil rights of the people. So we will talk about all these kinds of aspects, whether Shashi Kapoor, the way he continued in the films. We'll talk further about the role which he played in the war in our next lecture. Thank you very much.